Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 120 of my modded Factorio playthrough. So the output is going to be on the left here, so let's place the train stations in this vicinity. As far as placement, we might as well just butt them up next to this. You know, some of the resources are going to be coming down the belt into the train stations, and the rest of the resources are going to be going up the belt into the train stations. So I don't really see any advantage to... Actually, we probably should just honestly suck all this up, because there's going to be stuff here eventually. There's probably no advantage to spacing these out any. It's probably a disadvantage, really. We'd want to place them right next to each other. Since it's going to do it in the order we place them, we might as well help the robots out by moving the truck closer to the trees. We didn't build any trains. Not that the trains would have anywhere to go. Let's get the second station down. Actually, while we're here, we could probably put the little Y doohickey in here. And probably do the T as well. Be careful not to get run over by a train. Let's see, but we don't know the position of that yet. Till we place this other station down. So we have 1, 2, and 3. And then the doohickey. And the T. Yeah, it's unfortunate that power pole there just doesn't quite reach. Yeah, it's like a square too little. Living dangerously walking so close to the tracks. A line of robots. We'll worry about the balancers later once we've got the belts of crushed stone coming in. Okay. Should be good. Let's fire it up. I mean, seems good from what I can tell. We're getting our output. Let's move down to Bobmodium, the last one. Alright, let's get it lined up. Right there. But we took everything out. Okay, now we've got another line of belts to lay down here. Even farther than the last. Gotta wait for everything to catch up. As fast as the belts are, it still takes a while. Seems good for the hot second it ran. Another thing to note is that our electrical system is going to be wholly inadequate for all of these machines we're building, but we won't really know how much electricity we're going to need until everything's actually running. So unfortunately, we just kind of have to keep placing things and dealing with it, but since we're building them one piece at a time, they're going to take small chunks of electricity to kind of fill up the belt and the bus and the trains and all that. So really, until this whole process is completed, and all this stuff is going back to the bus, once that happens, we'll know how much electricity we need. But until that point, we kind of really have no idea, so there's kind of no point in even guessing, because what we have is sufficient. So next we need to just kind of extend all the belts down. I'm just doing that just because, but since we'll need all our resources, at least to this far, we need to run them down here. So, it's time to place more belts of increasing length for every new color. And they're not going to be filled up because the lack of storage space for all the crushed stone. And there went our 2000 belt again. All gone. Let's see. Shopping list for this next trip. We need trains. We need trains and then basically just a bunch of straight belts. And actually we're kind of a little low on those underground, so probably just underground belts too. And maybe some splitters. And also the Prospector Mod's version of mining drills, just in case that those actually work, where the Bob's mining drills do not. I'm not feeling very confident about it, but maybe it'll work and then everything will be fine. So we actually have, we don't need to bring bricks back this time. We actually have enough. We brought enough with us, so we don't need any more for now. First of all, saprite, is it out? Yeah, okay. Let's get some more saprite first and foremost here. Yeah, it's amazing how many resources are consumed with all those belts. It's possible that it might be intelligent to make a train network to be moving these resources around, but for now it's a relatively minor and an occasional chore compared to the amount of gameplay involved. If once every hour or two I have to do a 1 or 2 minute trip, round trip to pick up these resources, it's not too big a deal right now, considering just how inconvenient a train would be to automate this. And how this whole picking stuff up by truck is temporary anyway. But we're only going to be doing it for so long. I don't know. It'd probably take more effort to set up a train station than just pick things up by hand. Let's see, but we didn't want to put it all in there. Okay, but we don't, because we got to save that for our tests. So it's just chugging away, only at the infinite ore. And we've got plenty of acid to use, so seems like it's going to take a really long time to chug through this infinite ore, if it ever gets there. I don't know if the infinite ore is affected by Prospector or not. I know the infinite ore gets placed alongside the regular ore. But since these patches were so big, they seem small now just because the first level of Prospector scanning only gives us 25% of the total. So it's possible that these infinite ores are outputting, 4 times as much in relative terms. So 4 times an infinite ore is an awful lot of ore, basically. So it's probably going to last a long time, but that's kind of the point of the infinite ore, is so long as you have the acids to eject, then you get essentially air quotes free ore. So that's the advantage to setting up a system like that. But also, you can't invent acid out of nothing. It comes from somewhere. And in this case, we're getting it as a byproduct from washing all of our coal. So it's not like we're getting it. It's not like the acid itself is infinite. We only get it for so long. So it's a worthwhile trade-off. Man, that's a lot of trees. I would like to try to clean up the inventory a little bit now. So some things we needed was the Prospector version of the Mark II mining drill, just to see if that magically works. Don't think we need a ton of them, so I'll just build 2. So 2,000 might not be enough. Let's increase this. In fact, the number is so big, well, let's just increase this to 4,000. As far as these, Maybe like 8 stacks for now. Well, let's grab what's been made and let the factory continue to chug away at that. These are things we're going to need eventually, so we might as well build them while we're away from the factory. That's kind of the advantage to having a factory set up like this. We can't build a lot all at once, but we can build them very consistently over time. So we might as well have the factory doing something while we're out and about building other things. Let's try these prospector drills. See if they work any better. Seems like they're much slower. I wonder if that's intentional. Well, it's gonna take a while if they go that slow. We can still hook this up and then go somewhere else. And see if they're still running when we come back. Keep thinking they stop moving just because I stop hearing them. Alright, see if we can remember that we have 93 barrels, so we'll see how long those continue to run. Meanwhile, we had some belts to extend. Alright, looking pretty good so far. We've got all the multicolors going on here. Now we just need to do something about that crushed stone. Yeah, there's not going to be able to actually do anything with the stone right now. But what we can do is put it in a train. A train that goes nowhere. Okay, we'll worry about setting up the names and the colors and stuff later. We've got them set up and ready to accept stone, so now we need to get stone over here. As far as which belt to use, I don't know if it really matters, but since the resources are coming from the right, let's reserve the middle belts. So it's going to be this one right here is the first one. So setting this up is going to be a little interesting because we have missing machines. So we just kind of have to imagine where the belts are. I'm trying to think if I need to put any more undergrounds in here. It's probably kind of pointless to just do underground, underground, underground when there's nothing that they're ever going to have to dodge, so let's go to the far side because it'll make it a little cleaner. This is where our inventory gets filled up with junk. So that's number one. You see now it's starting to run at full blast here because it can. At least for the hot second that it can, until it fills up again. So we've got our two. Now a third belt is going to come in from somewhere here. I don't know exactly where it would be positioned. It might compete with space with these belts right here. It probably would. We just have to note, though, that it would come in somewhere. So we need to skip a space to account for that. So you have 1, 2, and then 3 that's missing, and so number 4 is right here. That just barely fits in there. And yeah, I could just do the undergrounds on the stone, you know, to avoid picking things up, but this is more symmetrical, and this is the design. This is how it's supposed to be, is things going up and down do not do underground, so things going left and the right do. Alright, so we have to skip space number 3, so that's number 4. And so number 5 is right here. And then number 6 will be over here somewhere. And we're skipping it because it's not there, but it would come in and then merge right here. So then we would have 6 full belts if we were using all of the machines come down. So the numbers might look a little weird. How I say we're only using half of our capacity, and yet we have seemingly 4 full belts here instead of what you would expect as 3. But we actually only have 3 here, because 2 of the belts are only being used to half capacity. See, these belts down here are only getting loaded by 1 load of machines, so we have 2 full belts and 2 half belts. So even though we appear to have 4, we actually would only use 3. And you would see this when they were running at full speed. But probably won't, because the moment we get this hooked up, all the machines are going to be filled up again, and then you won't see any action. But that's how that would be. So, now that we know we have 4 belts going into 6, that means we need a 4 to 6 balancer for this. That looks like it. Yep, 4 go in, 6 go out. So let's place these down here. Then populate with resources so it can get the job done. And let's hook it up. Swoosh. So under normal circumstances, this belt should be empty, because if it's full, then that means the sorting line is clogged and nothing's happening. Let's see if this balancer works. It seems like it is. So these chests should be set to unlimited, that's correct. We want them to hold as much as possible to minimize the chance that the factory is clogged. Yep, looks like the remnants of the resources are making it down because the belt filled up. That's all the time we have for today, so I'll see you at the next episode. Thanks for watching.